So when I screen recorded the breakdown event, I didn't realize that it only recorded the audio in mono. I thought I fixed that setting in OBS Studio, but apparently I didn't. So everything that's panned or widened in the song is brought back into the center. On top of that, I had to convert the video file to MP4 since the default export file setting in OBS is MPK. So the audio for the whole video is a little bit bit crushed. There's nothing I really can do about it. But I still wanted to get this video posted regardless of the issues, because it's very important to me, and I think you guys who are watching, it's entertaining and interesting to listen to the tips and what I did. But yeah, my future breakdown videos will be a lot better. So thank you for understanding and enjoy the rest of the video. So I think I'll just start off with the questions that they asked me before. And to start off with Toxic Wraith's question, what was the idea behind One More and how did you start the track? Well, I don't really know.
It was one of those moments when you just start something and see what happens, right?
I have to look back in my project to see what inspired me. Yeah. Well, it was pretty much me just messing around with new sounds that I got on my PC. And then I had, like, once I got the solid idea down, I started adding, like, a vocal from another song that I really liked, which was One Night by MK and Sonny Fodera, which was funny enough because I found the splice vocal that was One More Night. So I'm like, all right, the titles are pretty similar. So,
oh, yeah, true.
So, yeah, that's kind of how I came up with that. To answer the fifth question, he can hear the drums are playing a part in One More. And can I tell you guys about how I selected and mixed the drums for this track? So usually I start off my songs with making the extended mixes first. So I'm not like super pressured to go right into the drop like some people can. I know some people just start making the drop when they get an idea. I like to start with the intro, or sometimes not even the extended intro, but just the intro in general. But I was just in the right mood just to start the extended. What I usually do for my extended mixes is that I just take the actual kick from the drop, I shorten it all the way so it's super tight, and occasionally I will put an EQ on the shortened kick so it's got pretty much no low end, kind of like that. And then here's the full kick from the drop. Some shakers for a hi-hat layered with another one. It's kind of panned to the right a little bit. And then I have... Okay, so this is the original sample. But I believe I chopped it up so I could have it in a better way for me. Not sure what I did. Oh yeah, so what I did is I cut out the clap so I could add a different one later. And you can kind of hear the ghost of the clap reverb in the sample if you listen hard enough. But it doesn't really matter when everything else comes in. So what I recognized from some other melodic techno songs is that they will all often have like a white noise or a hi-hat that's on the 16th notes, just sometimes automating the opening. And so what I did is I used a Serum preset that I made, but it's super simple. It's just white noise. I moved the decay all the way down. The decay is like key when it comes to this. So if you start it right here, you can see that the decay is moving upwards. So the way I recorded it is I just used the recording thing and recorded the automation and just opened it up manually like this while it was playing. And then I just cut it off after 8 bars. So it just repeats. And you can hear this in, if you guys have ever heard of KAIOS, that's Side on Stamped. They made a couple songs here. I'll just paste them in the chat. I added these running hi-hats from Splice. And I kind of added like a panning, I think. Yeah, so I reduced the transients on this one so it's a little bit more tight. I took a lot of the low end off because it kind of had a lot. I used the flanger from Serum FX. As well as the pancake plugin, because it just pans it left to right, all the way 100%. It's supposed to be a background element, so I always have a lot of the background elements panning left to right sometimes, but not too much because it can really ruin your stereo imaging. But I was just doing something really creative at this point with that one, but it works. And then I added some light sidechain to it. So for the intro bass, I used a preset from the Producer School's Melodic Techno pack. It's not the right one. No, I didn't. I lied. So this is a preset that I got from Alev. I think he made it himself. One of the guys I know. He sent it to me. He gave me a whole bunch of like remake basses, and I just started using it. But it's just a saw bass. This one is for the top bass. I reduced a little bit of the low end. I made it kind of peaking a little bit in the high mids, so it gives a different sound. I compressed it a bit. Distortion. And then it's just a little bit of distortion. And then cut out some more low end after that. I'm not sure why I have the fruity balance there, but oh yeah, because I turned down the volume when it gets closer to the drop. I mean the intro of the song. So what I sometimes do for my extended mixes or intros in general is that I will have the intro start playing and then have some stuff fade out so it smoothly transitioned into the next segment of the song. I sometimes do that on my drums, where I put a low pass filter on the drums so it kind of transitions into the break a little bit more. So I will actually, I think the best way I should just do this is just kind of start off with how I started making it. Who are the artists that make you inspired to producing your own music? So I got inspiration from Zanzara from KAIOS, as well as ARTBAT, Flame. Well, I got the inspiration for like the extended mix from that song, because it was like kind of the kick in the top bass. But then I kind of went off on a tangent and just started doing my own thing. So let's kind of start off with my process of how I wanted to do the vocals. So I originally made like the intro, and I couldn't find like a vocal for it that I wanted. I was going to search for a vocalist, but it's not necessarily what I ended up doing. So I found a splice vocal after this, but I wanted to kind of use a placeholder vocal for the time being, and I kind of thought this worked. Let's see if it works. We go in circles, you and me. We said the same things, but never what we mean. I know that you wanna play games, but not tonight, not tonight, not tonight, please. Just give me a taste, so I know I'm alive. Just forget this, I'm on the edge of the night. On the wrong, then it's right. Let's forget the war. So as you can see, I still think to this day it sounds much better with this vocal than this one, but I kind of just picked the next best option because I didn't want to release a remix of this song by MK and Sonny Fodera, but I just picked this splice vocal. Actually, I will show you what the vocal sounds like with no processing. It's terrible. It's actually pitched down 2 semitones. It actually sounds like this. It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave. It's just yeah, so it's just pitched down 2 semitones, both on the format and the pitch, but I don't know why I put it for Stretch Pro, because this just does the same thing. So I did that, and I was like, all right, we're getting somewhere, So I added your EQ for cutting out the low end on the vocal, because you don't want that. It makes your mix pretty muddy. Some small compression, 30%, not a big deal. I added a chorus effect on it, but I kind of reduced the mix, because I originally had it at like, what, 60%, and it kind of made it sound robotic, so I just reduced it a little bit more. I'll show you what it sounds like now. Just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. Can we? You can kind of notice it. This is just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk. And then I added some small reverb as well. Just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. Can we? And then I actually got this delay atmospheric type vibe from, or it's a preset, but I got this from KREAM actually. I asked them how they added this background delay to their vocals. It's like a layer. If you hear it in all of their recent songs, they have it. You just have to pay attention. And so I asked them one day, I was like, so what exactly does that affect? And they just said this is all that it this is just what they use on their vocal chains. So I copied the screenshot and I just saved the preset, and this is what it does. I'll just turn all the other effects off. Just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. It's really cool effect. I've used it pretty much on all my other vocal chains as well. It's just so good as like an additive effect for what you already have. Just too hard to move when you're standing right there. So at this point, we're like, all right, we're getting somewhere with the vocal. Endless Smile I use for the build. So, also a side note, I have all my automations on the bottom, all the big ones that I have for the project. I also have them blocked, so, well, all the important ones locked, so when you try to solo a channel like what I'm doing right now, the ones that are important, they stay active. These ones I don't, because they're not important right now. But yeah, that's kind of how I separate them. I usually separate all my stuff with vocals, drums, instruments, atmos effects, automations. One thing I do wish FL had, like the features, is that once you like make a section in the mixer channel, you have them the same way in the playlist. Because Logic Pro X, they have that feature, and that is one of my favorite features. From so far, from what I used from Logic, but I hope in FL21 or the next update we get that feature, so that'd be sick. But yeah, going back to the vocal, I added some. Oh yeah, so this is a dynamic equalizer. There was a resonance in the vocal I didn't like, so it's kind of just compressing that resonance.
It's too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that.
And then I added some fresh air to give it some more, oh my gosh, just a little bit more high mids and highs sparkle.
It's too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that.
It's pretty subtle, but it makes a big difference overall. And I automated the sidechain on this, so you don't have as much in the intro / break, and then it opens up fully in the drop. Alright, so I talked about the drums. I basically...
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. Can we give it one more night? Just one more night. It's just too hard.
So I've used this build from a 78910 pack. I think it's the John Christian one. And I've used it for so long, I need to switch it up. So, probably in my next upcoming music, I'll probably switch it up. But I've used this for such a long time. It's a great sample. It's super simple, but effective. And I just had a volume automation on that one, so it's not as super loud once you get the build started. Now I'm going to say that this synth right here is one of the biggest aspects of the whole song. I think other people would agree. Everyone uses that build. And to answer Lenova's question, what would you say is the secret for good melodic techno? What's the first thing you think when you try to stand out? I honestly don't know.
I mean, I see that you use. I mean, it's not usual for every genre, but I see that you use a lot of automations. It's important. It's important in every genre. But do you think that that's the thing that you should aim for? Like a lot of automations to create like a journey. Do you think that's the thing that make a track stand out, or is it like something else? I don't know. Because I mean, I hear a lot of melodic techno house tunes. But I never produced anything in that genre, so I'm curious.
So what I do is I just listen to a lot of songs that are melodic techno, and then you just have to really pay attention to the elements that are coming in, coming out, fading in, fading out, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just takes attention to detail, I guess, and then also experimenting with what you want and what you're creative with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But do you think there is a certain like technique that you like? Which technique do you use like in every track? I know that you use the build in every track, but I mean,
Like
is
what
there
what do I
is
do every
there
time?
something like really special that you use in every song?
Uh,
Like besides samples, like a technique.
yeah, so I can say for one thing I use on my master, I don't actually like
Yeah.
do a whole bunch of mastering. It's just super simple. This is actually not my updated master chain. Actually, yeah, it is. Um, but I usually just have an overall EQ, cutting the frequencies you don't need. It's like low end and high end. Um, but I will add that once I get to the build, I actually got this from YouTube,
Okay.
a YouTube video. To make your drops hit harder, cut the low end off a little bit when the build is coming up, as well as you could do Endless Smile for, I call it the dope lead synth, so because it is dope. I'll get to the synth that in a second, but I'm talking about this. So I have Endless Smile on this one. Building up, you can kind of hear it. But I also have the master. It kind of goes down a little bit, like the volume. I think it's like, I'm not sure, what is it? Like 2 decibels. It goes down 2 decibels before the drop hits. And then it kind of goes back up to normal. I haven't used the volume automation in the build recently because I just made this song like months ago. But I do recommend at least doing the EQ and the stereo separation automation. And what that does is that I just automated the stereo mono button on the master, so it goes more mono when it just keeps building. I will show you guys what all that sounds like without the vocals here. So it just shoots back down for both the master stereo separation and the low end button, I guess. So that's what I do, and also in all of my tracks. I still use it to this day. It was one of the best tips I've ever gotten from YouTube. Yeah, I don't use OTT on the master. I am not a noob. I do use the glue though. It's like I just experimented with some compression on the master. It sounds pretty good. You can use the presets, but I mean, I just didn't at this point. I put Ozone 9 elements because I got this for free. And oh yeah, this is
Oh, the connections.
yeah. So
Did you get Ozone 9 for free?
yeah, I did, because
Where?
I got an email from Isotope because they had like a deal for a bit, and they said, "Hey, this is what you get for free." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I downloaded it.
Okay, nice.
So what I did is I just used the Master Assistant and I put the equalizer only on. I didn't use the imager or maximizer because I wanted to use something else for that. But I didn't know if my EQ sounded good or not, so I let it do its thing. It's boosted a bit in the mids. Compression, just, basic simple compression. The key to a good mix and master is not doing too much. Don't do too crazy. I would say. I mean, it depends on the genre. But in this case, I would say go simple. Don't go crazy where you just ruin your song. I really like the FabFilter Pro L because it's just a simple limiter. You can just increase the gain to where you need, and it sounds good most of the time because you have your other things helping the chain. I do use a span instance whenever I'm trying to see what frequencies I'm missing in the mix, and that's the fruity balance volume automation for the build. Alright, I know somebody said, can I break down the atmospheric elements? Let's see. Alright. So I will go through the intro, because the extended intro is actually what I had originally before. A lot of the atmospheric things I added in here, and then I was like, alright, I'm going to add this for the rest of the song. So I have this one mainly. It's going throughout the drop as well. Panning left to right. Some reverb, some kickstart, some EQ, cutting out the low end again. I recommend cutting out low end of all the stuff that you don't really need, because you're saving the low end for your kick and bass line. Sometimes you might want to have the low end for some drums or like some groove kicks or toms or whatever, but overall it's just a good idea to do this. So I have this one playing throughout the drop and the intro. It's at a low volume in the track. You can, yeah. This one sample is the main one that you can hear in the background. This is actually from Splice. I can send you guys the sample pack link. But they had a lot of good melodic techno samples. Yeah, this one's sick. But what I did is I just chopped it up, so I took out the low end parts of the sample because it had like a deep bass stab, and I didn't want that, so I just cut out that and used the, I don't know, swirling, I don't know what you call it, synth thing. Some EQ on this one. This preset on Valhalla Supermassive, I love it. Valhalla Supermassive as a whole plugin is phenomenal when you're making atmospheric elements. Sometimes I like to go with the boards of AFX. I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah, we can.
Okay,
we can.
I'll show it to you. I think I have it on another part of my song, but let's see. Yeah, so I added some small sidechaining, and then I have this panned almost all the way, stereo separated all the way to the sides. I just love it so much because it gives me the ARTBAT vibes. So that is definitely one of the main elements of the atmospheres. I also have this. So this is actually a splice sample, but I added some more effects on it and added it to my preset library. Not my preset, my sample library. I think a lot of people who make sample packs do this, so it's not just me. I think a lot of the times making your own samples does require you to have other samples, but also you adding your own spin to it, like whatever, reverb, delays, other effects, or just chopping it up and arranging it in a different way. That's what I did for, what was this? Oh yeah, the other Atmosphere. I didn't save it as a sample, but I kept this for my sample pack for me personally, so I can use it in other stuff in the future. Because it's a good transition. It's a good clap effect. I did add, I think, yeah, some more delays to it. Fruity Delay 2. I thought that was a good choice of delay plugin for this type of situation. Transpire is a great plugin. I don't know if you can still get it. I tried getting it on my Mac, and they don't have it anymore, but I think you can still get it on Windows. But I just increased the attack a little bit more. Or if you just have another transient shaper in general, that works too. It's really helpful, but this is my go-to transient processor. So all I did really is add more delay and made it a little bit more punchy or attacky. Then I added it to my sample library. This next one I also saved for my own sample library. I just added EQ again. I boosted the highs, attack, added some more delay, this time from Serum effects, and then I added some reverb, some chamber reverb to make it sound good. A lot of times it's just messing around, seeing what you like. There's not really a proper way to do this. But this is a really great transition effect. I can send you the sample in the chat later if you want, of the one that I still use to this day. I have my sweeps that I basically just used a Seth Hills sweep, and then I just reversed it and put it this way. It's probably, I think it's the sweep from the 78910 sample pack, the first one. And then this one is also from the John Christian sample pack that I really love. I've used it in a lot of my other stuff too. If you go back and listen to it, especially my Rhodes remix from KREAM on SoundCloud, you can definitely hear it. I think that was one of the first ones I started using it a lot in. But it's a really great delay, noise, transition effect, impact. And then this one, it's just a basic atmospheric sample. I added some small sidechain to it. I only really filtered the low end and the high end and just kind of kept the mids because that's where the sample was basically featured in the frequency range. And then I made it wide again with the ozone imager. This plugin is super simple, but I love it. I like the visualizers too. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's basically it for the oh wait, we have this one. That's so funny. I only use this one time throughout the track, and that's the intro. I guess I didn't remember to paste this anywhere else in the track. That's funny, actually. But it works for the extended intro because in the extended outro, I don't have the top bass. It's just like the normal bass line and kick. So you can just mess around with whatever you want. You can add stuff in the intro and not add stuff in the outro. Whatever. Just do whatever you want. I don't really care. It's your own song. Do whatever you want with it. Let's see. Oh, okay. So I will go and talk about the instruments now. Bass, top bass. I probably should label this honestly. There we go. I do a lot of things now where I separate the main bass, like the top bass, from the sub, and it's good for arrangement, especially when you want to have the top bass in the intro, whatever, and not have the sub. It just separates the two, and it's very nice, very convenient. So I have the top bass. But I also added the automation for the sub because you can't hear the sub in the beginning, but I have it there. A volume automation, simple. It comes in. I've really referenced the Flame by ARTBAT track with this one. And then right when the 9th bar comes in, I added a whole bunch of elements. Side note, this is probably my favorite part of the intro. This part where all of the other atmospheric elements come in. It just gives it a bigger feeling and a much more epic feeling for yourself, especially when you're listening to the extended. It just makes you kind of hyped for what's coming, you know. Just build hype, build excitement for the listeners, especially. That's just kind of my personal thing that I like to do. I don't know about you guys, but when you're adding stuff to your tracks, I don't know if you like to add other small little bits and pieces just to make other producers or other listeners that like to listen attentively kind of get excited about what's coming. All right. So yeah, sub. I got my background ARP here. It's not really an ARP, more like a plug that repeats. Super simple. I don't know. Okay. So this is from the TPS Astral Serum presets pack. I believe I only got the Serum presets, not the other samples that they had. But I highly recommend this to anybody who wants to do melodic house, melodic techno, whatever. Even for deep house, it's pretty good to have. But this is Pluck, simple yet amazing, as it says. I think I altered the preset a little bit just to make it shorter. I really don't know how to sound design. I can do some basic stuff, but not a whole bunch of big stuff. So what I find myself doing now is getting presets, changing them to what I want, and that's quote-unquote my sound design. It'll probably get better once I get more experienced in producing and stuff, I think, like with everybody. But that's what I have for now. So this ARP-ish, I just have it repeating in the middle of it. Adds a little bit more of a effect. And then I have this in the drop as well. I'll show it to you guys. That's the intro. I still have it playing throughout the intro as well. And then I add it again, second half of my drop. Not second half, but you get what I mean. So it's just another cool effect. I think I referenced KREAM's "Hear Me Say" remix with this ARP especially because you can hear it in the background in their drop. It's not the same melody, but it's kind of the similar vibe. Reese, super basic one for the intro. I only use it in the breaks in the intros. I guess I only used it in the intro. Again, another element that I just decided to use in the intro, not anything else in the song. I think that Reese is like, yeah, my own preset. Okay, so since you guys already heard most of the intro talk, I'm talking way too much about the intro, I guess. Time to get into the drop. You guys, what I usually do is copy the drums from the drop and put it in the intro, outro. You can watch Jonas Aiden's YouTube video on how to make extended mixes. That's where I really got the idea from. But you can also be more creative with your extended mixes as well. So I will go with the gritty saw. This is, I'm not sure what I used. Let me check. So it's a layering of an analog brass bass from the Astral sample pack, as well as this is filtered. If you guys have the Evolution of Sound Illusions Future Rave sample pack from Zen World, you can tell that all of his presets are lowered like all the way down, so it's really weird if you try to use your MIDI keyboard on the main octave area. Like, it just sounds bad. Higher up it sounds better. So I used this one as a high filtered kind of thing to spice up the synth brass. This is kind of like a brass slash cello, I guess. So this is the main component of the gritty saw. I do believe I changed the settings on this with the mods and I think the envelope, but you get the idea. I also have a pitch bend on the gritty saw, so right here. You can kind of hear it. It's super subtle, but I think I have it on the other preset as well. Yep. So I use the Blasters preset as the top bass, I guess, but it's the top synth lead. So you can actually hear the pitch bend more than you can with the other gritty analog synth brass. So that's the main one. So first half of the drop, it's a different progression than what I have for the second half. If you guys are attentive to detail, especially with synths and synth bass lines, Ida Jumos by Citadelle, I really got inspiration from that one, especially with this little lead. Yeah, I love that song. It was one of my favorite ones when I made this. So I kind of heard this one, and then I referenced the synth a little bit. Got some inspiration. Second half, I go along with the bass line. Kind of. Well, there's not really a bass line progression. I forgot, but this is the progression I use for like second half of the song, and then the break. So I have different things cutting in and out just to create movement. So there's 3 different spots in my drop where I cut things. It's this part where I have the double kick hit. I also have a reverse kick going into it, but I did cut the... Oh no, I didn't. I just cut the attack part of it at the beginning with the out button, out wheel. So I have it cut right here, as you can see. It's pretty much all the way down the line. And then I have the same thing happening here, but I didn't delete the sample, I just metered it. I really didn't have a track referencing this. I just cut it randomly one time, and I'm like, okay, that sounds really neat. And then I left it there. Alright, so gritty saw's out of the way. The sub, pretty generic. I mean, not generic, but this is also a sub bass from the Astral sample pack. Oh, I think... Oh yeah, so I got this sample pack, and then I wanted to make a song with it, and then this is the product, this whole song. So you'll see a lot of these presets in this one. This couldn't be any more of a promotion for that sample pack, but it's phenomenal if you want to make this type of stuff. For Serum presets anyway. So I have that. I altered it. I add some Camel Crusher distortion, some saturation, and then I filter all of that just so it's boosting the low end. This kind of looks scary, I know, but remember I have everything cut off in the master below 30 hertz. So I don't usually worry about that too much, but I do see the levels of the sub and seeing how it mixes with the kick, and I just try to mix it so the kick has frequencies that the sub doesn't, and vice versa. And that's basically how you get kind of a good kick and sub combo. There's much better videos on YouTube explaining that, like I think from Zen World, I think, especially when it comes to Tech House. And then I just have the volume automation for the intro and whatever. So that's the basic sub, ARP. Oh, okay. So I guess okay, so I have the same preset for both the background ARP that kind of just repeats itself in the intro. It's the same preset, but I just added different processing. For this one. It's got delay on here automatically and some reverb, but I think I wanted to add it a little bit more. No, I just left it there. Never mind. Compression 33%. I don't remember what video I saw a long time ago, but the guy basically said if you don't really want to go higher than maybe 45 when it comes to moderate compressing, especially with OTT. I probably could use OTT in a lot better ways and a lot more methodical ways, but in my monkey brain I just thought, okay, OTT 33% sounds good, I'll keep it there, I'll cut out the low end, not compress it as much, good. Sometimes you just have to be monkey brain with some of your production decisions. You just go with whatever. If it sounds good, keep it. If it doesn't, then delete it. I added I don't remember where I got this. I think it was like from the Splice website, but it's just a gate. What I sometimes do, especially with atmospheres, is that I will put this on there, or like a gate, and I put the release all the way this way. Like this. But I realized now that if I did this, it doesn't sound like any different. So I probably should have deleted that one. Kickstart, you know, and then I made it wide so it didn't mess with the middle of the mix, like the middle stereo field. Reverses into your elements, especially if they're main parts. Reverses into your vocals, and also new phrases for the song. So for this example, I'll talk about the processing on this here soon. So what I did is I just cut off the first note and then made a reverse reverb out of it. I'm sure you guys know how to do that already. If not, look up a YouTube video. It'll explain it a lot better than I can. Zabe 20 minutes ago. I don't use the OTT. I'm not a noob. I said OTT on the master, not not in general. Yeah, I love OTT. OTT free for 5 months. Best feeling ever. Sorry, can't get away from it. Alright. Dope lead synth. That's it. We're done here. That is all. That's all you need. Alright. For seriousness this time, let's just go. I realize I have so much processing on this. Alright, so compression, OTT, let's go. Saturation, your hall reverb, do whatever you want. I don't care. I messed around with the ping pong delay, so it's eighth note dotted on the left side, quarter note dotted on the left side, I mean the right side. Cut out the lows so you don't have the low end in the reverb, the delay. Supermassive, this is what I talked about before. It gives the, so this is without it. And this is with it. Kind of gives the swirling effect where it just loops around, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's just that way. But yeah, Valhalla is Supermassive. It's free. You can download it on their website. It is fantastic. Again, cut out the lows after all of that compression, reverb, delay, whatever, saturation. Some fresh air. This is also a free plugin. Just boost the highs a bit. Sometimes for the Valhalla plugins, it'll have like a very, very tiny like white noise, and so you can definitely see it in, not that one, but your ozone elements. You can see it right down here. It depends on what type of preset you have for the delay, because I know if you use the BBD thing, the feedback is atrocious on this, especially when you see the frequency spectrum, and you can kind of see it right here. But yeah, it's okay, I guess. If it's not too bothersome to me, then I'll keep it there, but if it is, and if it's making the track sound terrible, then I won't use it. Endless Smile for the build, obviously, and then I got my kickstart, the classic chain, and I just moved the mix to 65. As you can see, not too much sidechain, but just enough where it sounds good and it's not too much. Anything else that you guys want to hear about before I move on?
Yeah, I have one question. I heard like the Amogus Alarm somewhere really, in the intro. They're playing the C note. I'm not sure what is that.
Among Us Alarm.
Yeah.
Like in the extended, or?
In the intro, yeah.
Okay.
It's just too hard.
I don't know what you're
Dave-
talking about.
Dave doesn't even know he produced the alarm of Among Us.
There's no Amogus.
I don't
alarm in
have
here.
a clue of
Keep the
what
part.
he's
I'm not
talking
sure
about.
which one, but if we listen, if we hear that, I'll tell you.
Okay. Yeah, so I have the Reese, but I made it go along with the gritty saw as well. It's the same progression pretty much, but it's just the one note. This is going into the break. Oh, I forgot to talk about the vocal chops, one of the biggest parts. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, vocal chops, I have a low pass filter on it, so it fades into the drop, especially the second half. And I'll tell you about how I do that. It's pretty much just that repeating. What I did is I just clicked randomly throughout the vocal sample and I do this type of thing. I drag it to some other part of the track and then I click around, whatever, and then cut out the parts that I like. And I'm not sure if this is the right one. Yep. So I don't use all of them, or sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Doesn't really matter. But I just keep it here just in case I needed to use it later. But it's super basic. It's just whatever. You can use other things for vocal chops. I know some people use plugins. That's kind of lame in my opinion. Just be creative and come up with cool stuff if you just chop random things. At first I didn't like the vocal chop because I thought it sounded too weird. So I kind of made them shorter and it sounded a lot better, but I don't know if I'm to this day still satisfied with this vocal chop. But I'm not going to change it because it's released already, so... So again, we have the shortened kick playing throughout the break. I also have it playing in the last 4 bars of some of the phrases, so it cuts out the low end. And I've noticed a lot of tech house producers doing this, especially like John Summit. He's done that. A whole bunch of other people. You just got to pay attention to how the tracks are structured. This is a percussion loop from one of my friends. It's played throughout the drop. I also played it in the break right here, so... I made the break lead follow the Reese progression. Not sure. Yeah, who would have thought another synth from the producer school pack. This LFO thing I have saved from one of their other presets, but I really liked it, so I added it to some other Serum presets just to automate the detune of the oscillators. So it's nothing, not a big deal. I'm not sure what the stock sound sounds like. I could open up one here quick. So that's the stock. That's the basic preset that I have loaded. And then this one. I love this actually. I don't know what I did to make it sound like that. I think I just took away the filtering. Man, I need to save that as another preset just so I can keep it later. It sounds so good.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away.
So I used that. Also added the other atmospheric elements in the break as well. I had a reverse reverb into this second part of the break with the vocal. Added it again.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. Can we give it one more night? Just one more night. It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there.
Added the art, whatever. It's just the elements that you have in the beginning of the song, you can add in to the rest of the song later on. You can decide what sounds good, what doesn't. It's just trial and error. Everything really is in production. Trial and error. What sounds good, what sounds don't work. But yeah, I added the dope synth for the build, and then I wanted to add it again in the drop and make it bigger and cooler sounding.
One more night.
So this is a riser from the Future Rave pack from the Zen World. But I wanted to tell you about the technique I did for the panning vocal, where it says one more, panning left to right. This is actually what I recorded through Edison, but what I did is I cranked the Serum FX delay all the way to 100%, and so just have the delay panning left to right. And so what I did is I just recorded that in Edison, and then I have it as a sample now. And so now what I did is I just automated the volume, so it kind of fades away once the drop hits. So I'll show you what I mean.
One more night.
And then I have everything cut here. This specific silence part is what I referenced from MEDUZA's Wild remix. You can check that out. It's the second drop, and I was inspired by that, so I did that here, and I added some impacts as well and reverses. So I really liked what I did here. I don't know if I went with the right notes for the pre-drop lead, but I just copied another instance of the pattern and then I just changed it. And then for the second drop, in a way for me to switch it up, I obviously have the silence at the beginning, but I also have this, which is just playing the kick, sub, and the atmospheric elements. I don't know what track I referenced for that, but there's some melodic techno songs or hard tech house songs that will do that, just to get the hype going for a little bit, and then you add more elements in. This is just a chop, and then I just filtered it a little bit of the highs out, so it's like a muffled effect. It's supposed to be a background thing, whatever. Let me check the chat right quick to see if there's anything. Love the pre-drop lead. Yeah, same. That's why I added it. Yes, the mouse movement. Yep. You always got to have the mouse movement, especially when you're showing people the songs. I hate the dancing lady from FL. It's so cringe. Yeah. Mouse is 100% better than FL Chan, which is mega cringe. Which is your favorite go-to/favorite plugin from both effects categories and sound generating categories? So my favorite instrument plugin at the moment, as you can see, what do you think is my favorite? Just tell me. Also, I just got Diva, so I'm going to be using that a lot more in my upcoming songs. I want to get more creative with that. I got a lot of really neat presets that I bought from Production Music Live, PML. I can't wait to experiment with this more. I need to figure out how to use this plugin a lot more, but I've heard it's amazing for deep house, melodic techno, tech house, whatever, anything really. But I'm going to be using that a lot more. But right now, Serum is my favorite. It probably still will be my number one, and then my number two would be Diva. My favorite effects plugins would be RC20 Retro Color, as well as Valhalla Supermassive. Those two especially. Oh, and then Pancake 2, which is free. You can get on Splice. Or you can get it from the actual developer website.
Silence one was actually the first one I bought, and then I suddenly stopped working with it.
That's weird. Yeah, some people use it. I mean, I haven't asked people, like, hey, do you use Silence every day?
I mean, it was not that expensive, so...
Yeah.
I actually don't remember how much it costs, but yeah, I remember it was the first one.
Yeah. It was probably one of the ones that I got, especially when starting out producing, because I think a lot of people that I'm friends with now, we started out in the Jonas Aiden Discord server, and that's where we really learned how to start producing. I would say around the beginning of that Discord server, when it started, that was like prime time, and now it's just like after Jonas Aiden went on his break, it's kind of gotten kind of sad. I don't know if anybody's...
I remember.
Yeah, I think
it was my first Discord too.
I think a lot of people feel the same way. No, that was my very first music production Discord server that I was in, and now I'm like in a whole bunch of them. So, yes, Pancake 2 is amazing, fantastic. I believe Jonas Aiden recommended it one time in his videos. Definitely.
What is it for?
It's just automatic panning. So.
Oh, okay.
You're not having automations do it. Let me find where I'd put it again so I can show you. Yeah, so
Would you say it's better from the one from FL?
Oh,
Better than the one
100%.
from FL?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I always use that one.
Yep, so this is what I use. They have...
Is it easy to use?
Yeah, it's very easy to use. I don't make my custom presets because I'm too lazy, but you can do like 1 bar, so it pans every 1 bar.
Okay.
And I use the 2 bars. This is the default setting. But sometimes I like to use half bar, especially if I'm doing like, I don't know, vocal chops, effects for the backgrounds. I don't know. You just get creative with it. There's not a...
And that one is free, you said, right?
Yeah, it's free. I can
I need
paste
to
the link
download
in
it
the
then.
Discord after
Like
this.
Cake 2. Right.
So yeah, that's amazing. Fantastic. Back to questions. Let's see. Was there anything that I didn't talk about that you want to hear? You can obviously listen to the whole song for free. Especially if you have SoundCloud. I have the extended mix for free download just because we don't... You said our publisher doesn't produce or publish a Beatport, right?
Exactly, yeah. Yep.
Right. So Lenovo, he is so kind and generous to allow me to put it on Hype Edit for other people to download, and so I have that. I have a download.
You know what to do, guys.
Yeah, you guys know what to do. I'll copy it, paste it. If you want this in your library, especially for sets or guest mixes, whatever, just you can download that, especially if you just want to listening to it in your iTunes. If you're cool like me, you have your iTunes library full of other songs that you have for mixes and stuff. You can put it in there, whatever. Other techno I would recommend would be releases from Gorgon City and their label, as well as ARTBAT. That's more of like a, if you want longer songs, that's what you would do. Go to ARTBAT or Tale of Us, Anima, stuff like that. I know some songs can get really repetitive, so I try to stay away from the really, really long techno songs. Afterlife, yeah, Afterlife is good. Some of their songs, though, it's just like, come on, end the song already, you know? But that's kind of what I try to not to do with my songs, is I don't want them to go out and for too long, repeat themselves. I guess some techno is an acquired taste, I mean. You gotta be in the right mood or right time era of what you like in music, especially. Yeah, a lot of people aren't melodic techno or techno people. There's a major difference between melodic techno and techno, especially fast techno. I just hate that stuff. But melodic techno is just like, it's everything good about melodic house, but with the darker elements of techno, but at a slower tempo. That's kind of my way of thinking, is that I don't want to go too crazy, just reference the songs that I like, and that's the product. I usually do have my extended mixes and then my radio edit / what everybody else is going to hear later on. I just added a clap at the beginning, and that's what you hear on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever. It's the one that you actually heard first.
If you have questions, it's time to shoot them. You know what to do, guys. What's the purpose of our lives? Do you know how to answer that, Dave?
I can answer that. I would say purpose of our lives is to find what you love to do, find the people you love. Spend the time that you want with your loved ones. Do things you want to do. If you're religious, do that. That's cool. But yeah, friends
Well,
definitely
that was
helps.
well answered for sure.
Friends help. I know, like, if you're depressed, I mean, I haven't been super, super depressed before, but there's been times in my life where I'm just like, all right, let's, well, there's a time to be sad and there's a time to be happy, and definitely, especially after breakups or hard losses of family members and loved ones, definitely, I think it's a time to reach out to other people and ask for help, because there's no shame in asking for help. Mental health is important. Make sure there's always somebody to talk to, not just over through text, but also somebody that you can talk on the phone with or meet in person. 100%. That's what I think is very important. Also, kind of what's sad is that I have so many friends around the world, but I don't meet them in person. So the next best thing is either video calls or Discord calls or whatever.
It's the new era, right?
Yeah, it's the new era. But
The digital one, yeah.
But it's always so nice once you get to travel to shows or whatever and do meetups. Very awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, so guys, you have more questions to Zaib? I don't know, regarding life or
Thorn had
or
a
the song?
question off.
Yes.
The low end is really tying this one. Do you have any process on post processing on bass and kick?
It was pretty much just like what I said. Make your kick and bass combo elite. And what I mean by that is cut things out of the kick and then boost that in the sub. There's definitely a YouTube video that talks about it better. Let me try to find it right quick, but it's basically like a puzzle piece. So the kick, you have the low mids that are probably the best elements of that part, but you don't want too much sub because that really messes with your sub kick. I mean, not your sub kick, your sub bass. So whatever the kick has and the sub doesn't, those are the frequencies that you want. How you get better at mixing, it takes a lot of time. I'm still getting better at it. I'm not perfect. Oh no. No. Please don't bring thoughts back of my old remix of Late at Night. I hate it. Wait, is it still on SoundCloud? Oh no, it's not. Yeah, because I deleted it. I didn't have
Something
enough.
is because I just searched sub what is that, Thunderworld or whatever. I don't know
Yeah.
how to pronounce it, but on SoundCloud.
What?
So that was your previous alias?
Yeah, that was my alias for a couple years. No, it was not even a couple years. It was like maybe a couple months. Because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be so cool. Because it was actually spelled this. And then I was like, that's pretty cringe. I'm gonna be like stamped and take out all of the vowels. So I did that, and it sounded super dumb. And then I was in a Music by Lucas event in the Team MBL Discord server. Brendan Locke is the admin there. He can hook you up with the link. But, well, he's not an admin, but he's a moderator. Anyways, I was in one of the events, and I was like, hey, so does my artist name sound good? And then Lucas was asking me, like, hey, does it mean anything to you? And I'm like, no. So I
think I remember that specific masterclass. It was not a masterclass, but
it was
that
like
specific
some
meeting.
event, yeah.
Yeah.
I changed it, and then I asked Lenovo, hey, is this a good name? And you're like, yeah, that sounds sick. And then that was back when we had Future Blasting, like a long time ago.
Good times, right?
Yeah, good times. I think Juwon, he hooked me up with this with the Future Blasting Discord server because I was friends with him from the Jonas Aiden
Yeah.
thing.
I actually I think you were one of the first guys I met in the industry. Like because I started producing like 3 years ago or 4 years. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I
But
started.
I started with Discord like not too long ago.
Yeah. So I started producing 3 years ago, like late 2019. I make sure to put that on my SoundCloud banner because sometimes I might forget. So I just have a since late 2019 in my SoundCloud banner. It's kind of a cool thing. I keep it there just to remember where it came from. I guess sometimes keep my old songs to remember how bad I sounded at the beginning. And we could do that another day, just roasting our old music. But it's fun.
That
It's
would be fun
doing
for
it.
sure. I heard something from I did like 3 years ago, and it's like I don't know, like we don't notice the progress, but once we listen to what we did like years ago, we instantly know that we are growing every day.
Exactly. It's like
But it doesn't seem like it, but we are really growing every day. So we just should keep on going.
yeah,
And
exactly.
not give up.
Just even if you don't do good the first time, like remix contests, for example, I started a lot of those. I started participating in a lot of those when I was starting. I didn't win, obviously, because it was so bad, but it's a good practice for producing, though.
Yeah, you have a goal, so you want to achieve it, even if it's just finishing a remix, and that's good because you feel like you need to finish something, and then you don't go to like starting over again a new project if you don't finish the other one.
Yeah, definitely favorite preset pack. Well, for this song and specifically is the Astral one by TPS. I told Brent.
Yeah, we noticed.
Yeah.
We noticed.
I'm basically not sponsored from them, but I'm sponsored at the same time. Whatever.
Yeah, they are really cool. I also go through the preset they have, and they are really helpful. I buy a lot of packs from them.
Yeah.
Too.
I heard somebody was talking about my Monke remix from a long time ago. It was from a meme, and then my friends forced me to make a song out of it, and then I made it on stream like in one day, and they're like, "Dude, this is so goofy and sick." And then I sent it to Jonas Aiden, and then he was like, "Oh my gosh, what is this chaotic nightmare?"
You listen to it?
Yeah,
like on those videos?
I have the video somewhere. I can try posting it sometime later. But it's so funny. I still keep this up on my SoundCloud because I just love the goofiness out of it, and I call it Meme House. But
someone said it's damn bro, better than Seth Hills, so
it's better than Seth Hills.
KDS though, I said that.
I heard somebody say that I used the synth shot in the best way possible. I made it better than Seth Hills and Julian Jordan ever did. Somebody said that to me. I don't remember who it was, but I was like, all right, cool.
I'll have a listen to it for sure.
Yeah. Toxic Wraith. Play this next one on the next Toxic House Radio episode. You can. The extended mix is right there, so... But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Zabe Music. I can paste the link here in the chat.
Yeah, paste the link.
All right. I could take one more question, then I gotta go.
He's tired of your questions, so you better ask fast.
We are expecting a life-related question from Sky. Let's see.
Favorite LFO plugin?
Favorite sidechain.
Kickstart 2, because Kickstart 1 is kind of old and glitchy.
Yeah.
How to
Also
overcome
got
depression. I'm not at a good spot to answer that because I've never had real depression. I mean, when people say they have depression, I usually try to help them. Just talk to them, talk through the situation with them, and just listen if they have anything to talk about. Don't try to say too much. Just listen to what they have to say, and then offer help when you can. How to overcome ruined up compression on a sample. Don't use it. Simple as that. Find something else that sounds better.
Easy.
Yep. All right. I think that's about it.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate the time you had to go through one more. And yeah, I actually might experiment with it with something similar soon, because I'm also rethinking my style. So
Okay.
let's see. All right. Thank you again, and have a good one. Bye bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
See you guys. Bye.